Story 1. Hey, how are you, friend? It's all right. How is your wife? You haven't been out together for a long time, Rowan. Let me tell you, it was a mess the last time. We had a lot of fights about money, how we discipline our kids, and who gets to spend time with them. I really care about my children and do my best to be there for them, but balancing work and parenting is a real struggle. My wife, Anna, is incredibly important to me. She always takes care of her body, but I have to admit that I've become a little out of shape. People call it skinny fat because I'm strong in some places, but have a flabby belly. I see. It sounds like you and Anna had some problems. Yeah, we did. There were times when she would say hurtful things to me, and I would react by snapping back. Then she would turn into a real bully, and I'd just shut down. However, we managed to stay together. We were one of the only married couples in our freeing group, and all the others ended up getting split due to infidelity. That must have been tough. It was. The more Anna spent time with her friends, the more easily upset she seemed to become. I didn't really want her hanging around them, but then it turned into this big argument about me being too controlling and treating her like some kind of living love doll. It was all so silly. To be honest, I just wanted what was best for our relationship, but it felt like I couldn't even express my view without her getting upset. How are things now? I don't understand how we're doing right now. She's very removed from me. Maybe it's just temporary. I want to believe in it. Hello, Dad. How are you? Hey, Mary. I'm doing fine. Everything's good. Just finishing up work and going home. Do you need anything from the store? No, thanks. All right. Is your mom home? No, she's out walking with her friends. Actually, about Mom. What about her? Erica, Sophia, and I think she might be cheating on you. What? Are you serious? Yes, we're all suspicious. I don't believe it. Your mother loves me and is a good woman. I know, but she's been acting strange lately. Like what? She's never home, and when she is, she's constantly on her phone, texting someone. Plus, I once saw her getting out of a man's car. Maybe it was just a friend's car. Maybe. But it's still not okay that she's out all day, and you're always the one taking care of the family. I see your point, Mary. I'll talk to your mom about this and see what's going on. Thank you, Dad. We just want to make sure everything is okay. Of course. You and your sisters mean everything to me, and I'll do whatever it takes to make sure our family is happy and healthy. Later, my wife cheated on me. What? Why do you think so? It was just a couple of days ago, and I was already finishing up work when I decided to check in with my daughter. That's when she told me something that totally caught me off guard. My wife was apparently cheating on me. I was in shock. I thought it had to be some kind of twisted joke, or maybe my daughter had gotten the wrong idea. However, I chose to use the Find My iPhone app just to be sure, and it showed that my wife was at a bar on the outskirts of town. I didn't waste any time. I immediately jumped in my truck and drove off to face her. Oh, when I arrived at the bar, her friends were all there, acting like a bunch of drunken fools. I looked around but couldn't see Anna anywhere, so I chose to go outside and check the parking lot, and that's when I saw it. Her car, parked in the far corner with some guy slumped over in the driver's seat, looking like he was fast asleep. It was like a punch in the gut. This was the person who I thought was mine, and yet there she was, probably cheating on me with this other guy. It was a real shock to the system. I'm so sorry, Sebastian. It was a total nightmare. Rowan, as I approached the car to ask the guy if he'd seen my wife, I started to understand what was actually happening. The closer I got, the more I recognized the woman in the car. Someone had been making him feel good, and it definitely was my wife. They were so wrapped up in their little moment that they didn't even notice me until I broke the window and pulled the guy out of the car. I was so angry and hurt that I totally lost it. I started kicking him, and Anna was yelling apologies at me over and over again. It was an incredibly difficult position to be in, and I wouldn't wish it on anyone. To make matters worse, the cops showed up, and I ended up getting arrested for misdemeanor and battery. I was so consumed with anger and sadness that I couldn't even think straight. In fact, I was so worked up that I started to feel like I was having a heart attack. They had to take me to the hospital to get checked out, and that's when they diagnosed me with broken heart syndrome. That's bad. How did you deal with it all? I don't know. It was tough. Anna's father showed up, and he was clearly upset about what his daughter had done. He even went so far as to apologize to me for her behavior. It was a really surprising act, but it meant a lot to me. He even went out of his way to speak to my boss and union rep to make sure that I wouldn't lose my job over what had happened. That was a big relief, as I was worried that my outburst might have cost me my livelihood. Anna's parents took the kids, and I ended up going back to the house where she was waiting for me. And then what happened? When we finally got back to the house, Anna tried to hug me, but I was so angry that I ended up pushing her away so hard that she fell to the ground. I was boiling with anger and just wanted her out of my life. I told her I was divorcing her and that she needed to take all of my things away. At first, she didn't agree with me, but her father was able to persuade her that it was the right thing to do. My mother-in-law showed up with the kids just when I thought things couldn't get any more sad. Seeing all of them there made me feel even worse and more lost. I gave them all tight hugs because I didn't want to let go. I knew it would take a long time to get over all the pain and heartache I had been through because it was so hard and so trying. Have you thought about seeing a therapist? Yes. In my state, you have to go to therapy before the divorce is final. I think it's a bunch of nonsense. Tell me how things are going. How are you? How are your times together? This is a terrible dream. I thought that by seeing the psychologist, I would be able to understand what had happened and get some advice on how to handle it. But it was clear right away that this guide wasn't going to be very helpful. It seemed like she was trying to blame me for everything that went wrong, as she talked and talked. She told me I shouldn't have tried to control Anna and should have just let her do what she wanted. She told me I had to understand her side of things. It was all just so silly. I looked at her one time and asked if she had been smoking. I couldn't believe she was trying to blame me for everything when it was clear that Anna was the one who had lied to me. It was really annoying to have to deal with someone who didn't seem to understand what was going on. That's really bad. Rowan, it was a really hard time. The counselor and I also talked about Anna's cheating more, which helped me understand it better. I found it hard to believe, but she had been cheating on me for 4 months. That woman told me the truth through tears when I asked her more questions about it. I couldn't believe everything was going on. What made things even stranger was that there were no real signs that something was wrong in the time before she cheated. We had been going about our normal lives, and there were no signs that she was unhappy or not happy with our relationship. Sebastian, that sounds really hard. What about now? How is the breakup going? This journey has been very hard over the last few months. Anna has been working hard to make things right and get us back together, but most of the time we only talk about the kids. It's also hard for us to get together with family. Even now, our older kids are still very mad at her and won't talk to her. They don't seem ready to forgive her yet, even though I've tried to get them to spend time with her and make up with her. I can picture it. But, believe it or not, there is also a good moment. In fact, my kids made me a Tinder account. At first, I wasn't sure what to think. I mean, I'm a middle-aged dad with 5 kids. Who in the world would want to go out with me? Surprisingly, though, it turned out really well. I had a great time on more than a dozen dates through that app. After what happened with Anna, my confidence had really dropped. This made me feel better about myself. Although what was even better was that the app helped me meet a truly wonderful woman. We get along great and she's beautiful. We're dating right now. Wow, that's really cool. How did things go with the woman? I met things went pretty quickly. We got along great right away and discovered many things we shared. I fell in love with her, so I introduced her to my kids. Thankfully, she got along great with them right away. It felt really good. I honestly thought my kids wouldn't like her, but they did. But there was a twist that no one saw coming. It turns out that my son and her daughter got along great too. Things started to feel a little strange as they spent more and more time together. At first, I thought it was cute and even made fun of it with her. Okay, I get it. Okay, but what about Anna? Don't even begin to talk about it. The mother of our younger children keeps telling them that we'll get back together, but I know it's not going to happen. I just want the split to end so that everyone can move on with their lives. To help her deal with her feelings and accept that our marriage is over, her father is even trying to get her to see a doctor. but I'm not sure how helpful that will be. I only want everyone to be able to move on with their lives and begin to heal from all the hurt and pain we've been through. Though I'm thankful for the years we spent together and the kids we have, I can't help but feel hurt and angry that she would ruin everything by having an affair. I will never be able to forget or forgive it. I can't even imagine how hard this is for you, but it sounds like you want to move on and be happy even more. I am, yes. Thank goodness Isabelle and I have been able to make our relationship happy and stable. She's been great for me and my kids, and I feel like we're beginning to make our life better together. How are you? How are things going? To be honest, I'm worn out. This has been a really hard day for me. Everything has been a nightmare while I've been in the hospital waiting for my ex-wife to be moved to a mental facility. Why did that happen? That's right, it all started last weekend. Isabelle was asked to come with me to my son-in-law's upcoming 55th wedding anniversary party, even though I had agreed not to bring her to events before to avoid any problems. Now, what did happen at the party? Okay, my ex-wife has been a little off lately. Hearing that she's been mean to her old friends is scary, and the fact that the cops have had to step in every time is even scarier. I tried to persuade her family that she needed medical help right away, but they wouldn't listen. At the party, as the night went on, I watched as Anna went over to each of our kids. I couldn't help but feel nervous, but I didn't need to worry because I saw our kids hugging her, laughing, and taking pictures with her. While Isabelle and I were having a great time, I couldn't help but think about having a deep talk with Anna. But as the night went on, I realized that Anna's mood had changed. People around her felt uncomfortable because her behavior became erratic and hard to predict. I started to wonder if I had made the wrong decision about what was going on and if my first worries were right after all. I liked the sound of that. What did you do next? My phone rang at 3 a.m., waking me up. When I finally got to the phone, my sister-in-law's frightened screams and my mother-in-law's heartbreaking sobs were the first things I heard. While telling everyone that Anna had tried to kill herself, my brother-in-law was trying to keep it together and speak quietly. He was telling them that she was being rushed to the hospital. My mind was racing with worry as I tried to figure out how bad things were. What the heck is going on? Could there have been something I did to stop it? As I slowly got out of bed and started to get dressed, thoughts of guilt and questions raced through my mind. My hands were shaking with fear and doubt. That's awful, thank God. What about your kids? What did they do with everything going on? The eldest kept thinking about the past and what we could have done better, and my youngest was very upset. I had to tell her that we should not worry about the past, but rather about the present and the future. It was hard to watch them all cry and try to be strong at the same time, but we're following each other around to help each other out. How is Anna right now? After trying to kill herself, she is now in a psychiatric hospital, getting the care and attention she needs. She will have a long way to go, though. The doctor said that she might not be free for a year or even 2. Hearing bad news like that is hard, but all we want is for Anna to get the help she needs to get through this. We just want her to find peace and happiness in her life because things have been hard for her. Sebastian, it sounds like a lot has happened to you. I'm sorry everything you had to go through. Thanks, Rowan. I'm thankful that my family and friends have been there for me and that Isabelle has been a rock during this tough time. Without her, I don't know what I would have done.